I've never really been the minority, so I really don't know how I'd feel, but I like being the majority. I like being white.
Yeah, it's a kind of can't we all get along kind of moment, kumbaya moment. But when you really talk about diversity, what a story.
So my side of the story of why I'm making this film. I grew up in a very small white town. About 25,000 people, so I mean it's not too drastically small, but demographically speaking, it was very narrow. Coming to college, it was an eye-opener. I mean, I was never racist. I never saw myself as racist. I never was closed-minded anyway. But I was just never, exposed to anything besides that setting. So coming to PAR and FAR here at U of I, it was different. I mean, I've never lived with, so many different types of people, and I think I'm a much better person because of it. And that's the biggest reason why I'm making this video. About racism and diversity, because I think that diversity is a very powerful tool in combating racism and opening up minds. So what I thought I'd do to start off the film is get some opinions from the guys on the floor, see what they thought about racism and see what they thought about diversity.
Racism to me is when people make fun of other people of different race, ethnicity, wherever it is, and they're actually serious about it.
Showing no respect to someone or to one group of people,
Racism is ignorance in the fact that people believe stereotypes to a certain degree where they live through the stereotypes.
I believe racism is a form of ideology where you feel that your particular ethnic group or culture is superior to another.
Getting students' opinions are very important, but I wanted to get some real insight in the issue. That's where I turned to Professor Lou Turner, who teaches about race relations in African American studies. But before I could understand how diversity affects racism, I first had to understand racism and what causes it, both on a psychological level and social level.
Prejudice has two components. One is an emotional component. The other one is a cognitive component. The emotional component is that that people may have an emotional, i.e. fearful or hateful reaction toward another people. Fear is one of the emotions. Another emotion is actually, fear is repulsion, that is. Another one is kind of attraction in this sense. Racism can also operate in terms of who you are attracted to or who you are repulsed by according to an aesthetic. That is, you think so-and-so is pretty, so-and-so is ugly. So-and-so is fine, so-and-so is not. We tend to be fearful of those things that we find ugly or horrible looking or whatever, or that we are uncertain about. The cognitive component, that is an intellectual component, is essentially what prejudice is about. Prejudice means prejudge. So you're prejudging someone, and the operative term is judgment. That is, you're making an intellectual judgment about someone or about a people without sufficient information to make that judgment. And so you create stereotypes, you create various kinds of racist representations or images out of this. So you have prejudgmental information. So that's a more intellectual version of prejudice.
You wouldn't consider yourself a racist person?
Not really. I'm comfortable with what I'm comfortable with, and that's not to be racist, but a whole lot of white people.
At home, it was, that and there was testosterone quite a bit amongst me and my friends. I mean, I never thought anything of it. I thought it was a problem. I mean, I knew it was wrong, but who was there to, correct me? I mean, no one. I also wanted to see what some of the students thought caused racism.
Yeah, you drew like an ugly ass picture of a girl.
What causes racism?
Being stuck in the same like racial group for a long time and then like going outside of it.
So I guess it's just where they're raised, probably. Like where they were born, where they grew up.
Ignorance. If you have not been outside of your four walls, then you don't understand what other people go through.
I believe that it's institutionalized. A lot of things that happen that are considered racist are things that people learn at an early age. As a child, you soak everything up like a sponge. So if you're in an environment where a racist ideology is institutionalized, then you're gonna pick that up. You know, so
I think a lot of racism is basically ignorance. Ignorance and stereotypes.
Race is a social construction. We create races in our minds. It's a fiction, it's a mythology, and it operates for a lot of different reasons: political, economic, ideological, religious, all kinds of reasons.
After getting a better understanding of racism and what causes it, I want to learn more about diversity. Does it actually help? And if so, why is that?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, the more that people are around people who are different than they are, then the more the two things happen. Number one, people become comfortable with difference. And number two, which is kind of the opposite of that, the more people see that see the universal humanity that is all of us.
Well, it helps a lot. It helps out definitely. It helped me to learn how to talk with other people, how to talk with different people, and how to fit into groups.
It's definitely been a different experience because living with these people is different than just like hanging out around them. Getting to know them on a more personal level because you get to live with them and get to know them, like get to know what they do every day in their lives. It's really something everyone should experience at least once.
Another interesting thing I kind of wanted to know was what my peers thought about race relations. Have they improved and where they currently stand, and what they thought could improve race relations.
On the surface, everything is good. We don't know what people say behind closed doors. That's the problem. We are making changes, but we're not there.
I'd say more of it's been swept under the carpet than it has improved, but there has been improvement.
They've improved, but there's always room for more improvement.
I think they have improved in some venues. And there are some people, there are some groups of people who are still set in their ways.
Like I said, there's still a lot of room for improvement. But come a long way.
I don't know, creating society, diverse societies.
Be more open now,
Just living with them, getting to know them on a personal level,
This, living in a diverse environment.
If people are actually open and take the time to get to know somebody or a particular group, they might not have such racist opinions.
Really, all race is an organizer. It's a title that's been institutionalized in our society. It's like you said, a social construct that gives us a reason to believe that we're different from one another. And if you can break down that social construct and show people that we're similar, regardless of what our background or ethnicity is, then that will take away a lot of the problems that we see on this campus and in the world.
I'm very comfortable. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing that living here in the diverse environment has helped me, as I've become a lot more comfortable with myself and other people. I know how to interact with other people. I mean, I'm much more comfortable. And I think that's the biggest thing that diversity does. It just opens your eyes. I mean, it makes you realize, you know, people are people.
Like where I grew up, it's kind of a smaller town with not a lot of diversity, so I haven't really been exposed to it.
Now I'm looking back at it, and those things are offensive.